Hello and welcome to this video on the Trendlines Pro Indicator for Indicators by LonesomeTheBlue on TradingView. As the name suggests, this indicator offers us trend lines on our other indicators. So here I've just got the RSI called up. Let's double click and have a look at the settings. First of all, time zone, I set mine to 0 as I'm in London, but you would set yours accordingly to where you are in the world. The indicator you select by default is RSI. We'll come back to that in a second because you do have an entire range you can choose from, and not just the inbuilt indicators but also external indicators as well. Let's run down. Here I've got pivot period at 6. I'll take that back to default, which is 2, and let's see what that does. Okay, so let's look at the RSI. Two trend lines. We've got an upper trend line which will break at 67.8 and a lower trend line which will break at 47. The colors are fluid, you can change those to whatever you like. The pivot period is used to change how sensitive we are to changes in trend. So let's just take this up to 6 and you'll see that trend line disappear, and if I come down slowly it'll pop back. So come back to 2. Threshold rate is there again for fine tuning, and as you can see it deals with the channel size for each trend line. Minimum strength, again this relates to how many pivot points are used to create a particular trend line. Now we can use various types of trend line. This is the bog standard one. There's also channel, which will give us double lines and make it slightly easier to see exactly where the trend line falls. Did you see that trend line there just react to changes? That's the beauty of this indicator. You no longer have to draw a trend line and then keep adjusting it yourself. The software will do it for you in real time, and the real beauty of that is that you know it's accurate constantly, so you can just focus on your trade. Okay, that's channel, and also we have trend channel, which will give us a slightly different layout. We have the downtrend in red and the uptrend in green as channels. The dashed line denoting that it's slightly weaker at the top than it is at the bottom, and vice versa there with the RSI. Let's come back to trend line. Last broken trend line may or may not show anything at the moment, but when we do have a broken trend line, it will give us a dotted blue line to show that that trend line was there. Very useful. We can also change the number of bars to check for a broken trend line and how it's going to look on screen. Dotted, the width and the color. Let's move on to show divergences. At the moment I've got don't show divergences. We can select regular, hidden, exaggerated, regular and hidden, regular and exaggerated, or all diversions. Now I'm going to leave that on for the moment. If you look here you'll see these flags popping up. Exaggerated divergence to the downside, regular divergence to the downside there, hidden divergence to the upside, and it also gives you an indication of how it's calculated this. A hidden divergence down, a regular divergence up. Let's just go back to turning those off for the moment, but again extremely useful. We can change the number of bars to search for those divergences. Do we want the labels or don't we? Let's just have a quick look at that. We'll go back to all, and it says there show last, show all. No, there's no others there, but don't show would just give us the divergence itself here. As you can see, they've just disappeared. Okay, let's change that to show last, and I generally have this as regular and hidden. I find that's the most useful. Again, more options here for solid, line width and the colors, also the size of the text on the label and the text color. Right, down to alerts, which is perhaps one of the most useful elements of this indicator. Firstly, we can tell the software we want all alerts, or we want long alerts or short alerts. We can also then select individual alerts here. So support resistance broken, we'll have that one, and we'll tell it once per bar close. That's good. Resistance broken message will appear in here, and if you check on the indicator homepage you can find details on how to write your own custom message using all the information that this indicator outputs. So rather than having the standard messages, you can have your own and you can have it emailed to you. And in my case, for example, I have it emailed to a certain email address that posts it onto my Telegram group for all the other traders. Really useful. Price in support and resistance channel. Price went up or down from support and resistance. As you can see, the options available here, or the alerts available, are incredible. Let's just go up here and I'll show you one of these alerts in action. So if I click add alert and I want it to alert me from the indicator, so I select that, and here you'll see all those options. You tell it which alert you want it to alert you to, and this alert itself will apply to this coin at this time frame, no matter if you close the chart, provided you save everything, close the chart, close TradingView, walk away, you'll still get those alerts. It's fantastic. 24/7 monitoring for your trades. Right, let's go back to the settings, and we were at the bottom. So let's come down. We've looked at alerts. I'll just close my alerts window. Let's close new settings. Here we go. Put it back there. Okay, so we've looked at the alerts. I'm going to turn those off for now because as default, I don't want them set. And price labels. Show price labels on trend lines. Again, we can play about with these two here. We can make them large. Let's just take it back to small. But if you're using a mobile, for example, you can use tiny, which will seem really tiny on this screen, but on your mobile screen, it will make a bit of real estate available. Change it back to small. We can change the label colors. We can change, and that's also for up and downtrend. We can change the text color. And here we can show the indicator name, RSI. Let's turn that off, and RSI should disappear eventually. There you go. We'll turn it back on. Show MACD histogram, hide indicator line, add EMA. I'll show you that in a second. Trend style. Now that relates to how we want the lines to look. Do we want them solid or do we want them dashed? And there's dashed. We can change line width. Like that. I like nice thin ones myself, and I like them solid. We can change the colors, and we can also change the indicator color, the indicator line. There's two colors, one for up, one for down, and change the width of that as well. Then we have indicator settings here, which I won't go into depth over, but essentially it's the same settings that you'll have in the indicators themselves. So you can change the RSI length. We've got the CCI length, and as we go down the list, it's all there. At the bottom, minimum loopback length, we can change that from 200, and minimum angle rate for a new trend line. In other words, what's the minimum angle we want to show a trend line from, and we can also show or hide pivot points. Right, let's run back up to the top and have a look at what I was talking about earlier. Now, I've got the RSI there, which is great, so we'll keep that. I'm going to add another instance of the indicator, like that, and what you'll find is that the standard version appears very similar to the one above. Double click the indicator to get into the settings, and then I'm going to have a MACD in there, so we'll hit MACD. Everything else remains the same. Go down to the bottom because we're dealing with a MACD, and show MACD histogram and add EMA to give us the red line. There it is. And Bob's your uncle. Look at that. You've got a MACD with trend lines, and there is the dotted blue line I spoke about earlier. That's a previous broken trend line. You can also put divergences here as well. There are none on chart at the moment. Oh no, there are. There you go. There's one there, and there's a regular there, and that's a bullish one. So as you can see, we drop down and then become bullish. To use your own indicators here, you'd select external indicator, select the indicator that you're using, which will be in this list. As you can see here, there's a number of indicators there. Let's just choose stochastic RSI, click that one, and there it is. Let's now click this one here, choose external indicator, and choose stochastic RSI K. What you'll see is that RSI appear here. So we've got our trend lines on the stochastic RSI indicator. And if we double click that, we can give the indicator a name as well. Or as it says external RSI there, we could call that STC with trend. And that label will appear just for clarity on our chart there. So there you go. That's the Trendline Pro indicator for indicators. Going to close that one. Don't be afraid to have more than one open. You can have two to give you an RSI and a MACD. It works perfectly with the Harmonic Patterns Pro indicator and also the Trendlines Pro indicator. Gives you the maximum amount of information possible on one single page for any coin that your exchange covers. That's about it for now. Thanks for watching. I hope to catch you again in the next video.